Well, welcome to another exciting podcast with Service UK. Blood, Sweat and Deers, but this week I think it should be called Blood, Sweat and Turkeys, because I'm talking to my old mate Richard Howard across in Tennessee. How are you, Richard?
Good. How are you doing, Owen?
Oh, we're not too bad, mate, over here. Everybody's getting the vaccine and things are starting to open up a little bit. It's spring and, the woods are starting to turn green and all the different flowers out there. So there's like there's quite a positive vibe about everything. I'm personally busy just finishing my cull and shooting a few muntjac, but I've got no clients booked this year. So it's generally English lads coming local or just on our cull stuff. So how's things with you? How are you all guys coping in the States?
I'd say here in Tennessee and most of the South is everything's opening up pretty much. In our county, Williamson County here, just outside of Nashville, they've released the mask mandate. So we don't have to wear it, but it is owners of businesses can request and require that you still wear it. But for the most part, the social distancing is being lessened up quite a bit. We are still mindful and respectful of our elderly people and try to do the right thing. But no, everything's pretty good for the most part.
I take it that hasn't had any restrictions on hunting, has it? You've still been allowed to go out, yeah?
Yeah, and I'd say this year, I know gun sales, and I don't know how to break that down if it's what types of guns, but gun sales have been up, I think, 45%. There's been no restriction on hunting or fishing. In fact, they've encouraged it to get out because it's
good for your mental health.
Correct.
Yeah, we were talking last week, and you were telling me that story about ammunition and how they can't make enough of it, and it comes into the shops and it's straight out, and you're limited. What's that all about?
I think it's probably just a fear of not being able to have it. And then with all the news and the riots that you've seen on the news, it's making people feel like they've got to defend themselves more. But
wow.
It's the prices have gone through the roof. To just an example, to buy 100 rounds of .22 ammo a year ago, this time I could buy a box of CCIs for about $10 to $12. Now it's $29.
Oh, wow.
For a box of 100. So you're looking at 30 something cents per round for something that we used to go plink all the time with.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Do you think because of COVID and manufacturing, or do you think the product's gone up in cost, or?
It's just the supply and demand. They can't make it quick enough. To buy ammunition for like a 9mm pistol, which is a very common firearm that's owned by millions of people over here, it's $1 a round now. It used to be 38 cents a round. So it's just a matter of production and being able to supply the demand.
Same prices in Europe, and we're not blessed with the cheap ammunition that you get. By the time it's crossed the old pond and gone through the distribution and then gone out to the gun shops and everything, it's expensive to shoot, especially centerfire ammunition. And of course, the core products to make it, lead and the brass and all that, they never go down in price, do they? So
no, and I think another reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, but ain't it mandated on how many rounds that you can have at any certain time?
Forget about the States comparing with the UK, for example. I mean, we're licensed on it. So you're licensed down to the number of bullets you can keep, not on shotgun cartridges, but certainly we have to have a firearms license that states the caliber that you're allowed to have. You're allowed to have whatever you've applied for, and so many rounds of that. But I would say keeping 500 rounds of .308 ammunition is a lot of ammunition for the British authorities to accept. Whereas you can stack it high, can't you? You can fill your cupboards in.
Yeah, there's no law on that. I mean,
you can buy it at Walmart, can't you? And just put it in your shopping trolley.
You can buy 1 million rounds if you want.
Oh my goodness!
And I think another reason is just the gun laws here have really lessened up. Well, I don't know with Biden how that's going to change, but for me to go and get a carry permit where I can carry a sidearm or a pistol,
yep,
in my possession, concealed. There's 2 licenses. You can have a carry permit, which I can go online, and within an hour of taking an online course, I can obtain a permit to carry a firearm.
A pistol.
A pistol. It has to be concealed, or in my truck or in my car. You can take one more course, and this is like, it only costs like 30 pounds to take this course.
Yep.
To where I can actually wear a pistol on a holster and carry it in the open public, except into schools, banks, certain official buildings. So with the freedom of being able to own so many guns, the ammunition, it's just people are just buying it up. I can go to specific stores now and only buy 2 boxes a day.
Really? Well, see, yeah. That's just because they've got such a demand and they haven't got the supply. So I'm sure impact on our ammunition in the end, if that's the case. I mean, I can remember, I think it was Steve Hornady telling me that the global sales outside of the States was 10% for Hornady. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say that's going to have an impact on us from certainly American loaded ammunition and the component parts. But anyway, that's really interesting. But the main reason I wanted to talk to you is that spring is in the air in the States as well. And for me, I'm kind of getting excited about seeing my roebucks clean off. And then the later stages, that is the rut and managing to call the roebucks. I know you've been over with me a few times for that. But is this spring turkey hunting? That is definitely on my agenda to do one day with you. And I thought it would be nice for our listeners to our podcast to perhaps discuss that and, shed a bit more light on the sport you get in the spring from these huge game birds that you've got out there that while. So tell me a little bit about it.
Turkey hunting to me is probably one of the most addictive styles of hunting. It's like playing chess with an animal.
Yeah,
you're defying nature when a turkey, a male turkey, a gobbler gobbles. That's a call that he's letting the females know where he is and to come to him, and then you can see the fans behind him.
Yeah, they're called fans. Yeah, the tail feathers. Yeah. When
he struts out like that, that's a show. Of showing how big I am, how of a mature bird. So what's so addictive about it is the calls. You're calling that male turkey, that gobbler, to come to you within gun range or bow range, and the way of nature is he's gobbling and he's calling the hens to him. So it can be very frustrating because each hen, and I'll do some calls here in a few minutes. When she calls, it can be a stressful call, and if you make one noise that is a stress, which could be an alert sound, that turkey is gone. If you sometimes a turkey, a gobbler won't respond to your calls, and each call striker, and I'll show you that in a minute, can make a different sound on the call. Maybe it sounds like a young turkey. Maybe it sounds like an older turkey. So you just got to feel out that turkey's what's exciting to him to bring him in close to you.
Just to give me an idea. So in a piece of woodland, say close to you in Tennessee, you'd have sort of like thick woodland and then open rides and things like that. What would you do? You set yourself up in a hide. I mean, I've seen pictures of guys sat with their backs against a tree with the old auto shotgun ready. Is that a typical thing, or would you set yourself up in a hide? What time of day do you do it? Is it first light, last light, middle of the day? How do you go about it?
I'll just give you a kind of a one-on-one turkey hunt. You get out, you get into the woods before anything starts waking up. No birds, nothing is awake. And if you're lucky, you've been able to go out the evening before, and we'll do what we call roost a turkey.
Yep.
Before he goes to sleep, he will fly up in a tree, usually in the same area, maybe not the same tree, but in a general area, if he hasn't been spooked or run out of the woodlands. So he'll gobble when he flies up into a tree. So if you're able to get that, where he is. So that next morning, you can get in there and get as close as you can. You want to try to get within about 100 yards from the 100 meters from the turkey in the dark. So if you don't have that situation.
So if this is about getting your dinner, why don't you just wait for him to go in the tree and plink him with a 2-2 or something like that? Could you do that? Is that legal or is that illegal?
No, it's not legal. Some states allow you to hunt with the rifle, but ethically, that is not right. And if anybody knew that you did that, you would be banished from hunting society. So yeah, the whole part of the hunt and the fun is the call and seeing him put the show, the strut.
That's the sport.
Yeah. So typical day, like this morning, I heard a turkey, the first one I've heard this year outside my front porch. So if I was to go turkey in the morning, I would go to an area that I generally know their turkeys, that I've seen them. I would get in there, and I'd hear the turkey gobble, or I would make him gobble by a shot call, a crow or an owl call. Once you hear the turkey gobble and he's in the tree, it depends on the daylight, but if you've heard him the first gobble, you've got maybe 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes before he flies down. And he'll gobble in that tree once, maybe 50 times. It just depends on the bird and the temperament. So what you do is you get in there, try to set up close as you can, 100 yards. If you've got the ability to put out a decoy, put out a decoy.
Yep.
You want to sit against something, either in a hide, a blind, or what I like to do is up against just a tree that's wider than your shoulders so you don't get silhouetted. And camouflage from head to toe, because turkeys can see color. They can see movement.
Wow.
So your first approach at that turkey is what we call a tree yelp. As any birds wake up in the morning, you start hearing them call.
Yeah.
Very low call. So you just want we call it a tree yelp. It's just letting that turkey know that I'm a pretty hen and I'm over here not too far from you.
We have it exactly the same with the pheasants when they come down from roost.
Yeah. You're right.
Obviously, there's a lot more pheasants than there is turkeys, but you get exactly the same as it starts to break light,
Yeah. So you'll hear that turkey up there gobbling, and all you want to do is just a few low calls, some very subtle calls to let that turkey know that you're there. And then you want to be quiet. And if he gobbles at you once you've made that slight first call, that's really all you need to do. He knows you're there.
And when you say a call, I mean, I've seen all these different bits of kits. Is that a call that you use in your hands? Is it a man-made call? Do you make it yourself? Oh, well, you're going to show me.
Yeah. This is what you call a slate call.
Yeah. Obviously, we're voice only unless you're watching this on YouTube. So what's that? Looks like a clay pigeon to me. Is that about it's same size as a clay pigeon, like a clay base?
I'd say so, yeah. But the base is wood.
Yep.
I've got several of them. What you see here, this is called the pot.
Yep.
These holes will allow the noise from the call to come through.
Rich, hold it a little bit higher. I can't see it. Oh yeah, got you. That's fine. Yep.
So this is the surface that you strike. This is called the slate.
Yep.
This is the pot. So you don't hold it like that. You hold it like that so the noise can come through.
So it's basically, for the people that can't physically see that, it's like a wooden box with holes in it. That obviously gives you the like the acoustics and the volume of it. And then what's the top made out of?
This top is made out of a slate, like on a chalkboard.
Slate. Yeah, got you.
I use slates and then I use glass. This is one same as that. Same as it's called a slate call.
Very similar, a circular wooden box with holes in the back with a sheet of glass on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. The noise projects through these holes.
Yeah.
So, so you make your first call, and before the turkey flies down, he'll gobble many times. But once he flies down, you'll hear him. I mean, it's like a
yeah.
So a lot of times people will make that noise of a.
Yep.
The gobbler will think a hen is flying down and is on the ground. So
yeah, you mean just like rubble the leaves at the side of you or something like that? Yeah.
You can do the leaves. That's a noise of feeding. But as the turkey flies down, you'll hear that noise.
Right, got you.
Of the wings. So once he's on the ground, that's when your game of chess starts.
Yeah. So would you have a decoy out in front of you then, or would you just be against the tree with your gun out?
This is a hen decoy.
Oh, so Richard's holding up a big plastic decoy of a hen.
I would say this is more made out of rubber, and it's hard. They make all different types of decoys. Some that you can blow up, some that are made out of foam that you can. But I like a very realistic decoy. These are new on the market. And, I would say this is probably $75 to $80 for this decoy.
Well, gobbler decoys. We might have to put this out after 8 o'clock at night, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, you can use. I like using a hen. Sometimes you have a hen with its head up, but this is a content. Like it's feeding. So you've got a stake and you stick it in the ground.
Yeah. Okay. I can see. And just Rich, what kind of turkey? I mean, there's different varieties, isn't there? There's 4 or 5 different varieties. What have you got with where you are?
We've got what you call an Eastern turkey.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see these fans behind me.
Yeah, I can see.
You see the one in the center?
On the back wall, for those that are listening, Richard's got 4 fantails of turkeys all spread out like a trophy, I suppose, but they're massive. They must be.
I don't know if you can see it, but this would be an Eastern, and you can tell by the colors on the tips of the fan.
Yeah.
This one would be what we call a Rio. Which is out. You have those in Texas, Kansas, California. This right here would be what you call as a Miriam, which Miriams are predominantly the North Midwest, Oregon. So we actually have 4, 5 subspecies of a turkey here. We've got.
It looks to me, Rich, like the Miriam and the Rio are the most colourful. Would you say that on the tail feathers?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we've been waiting. We're up the tree. We're below the tree. The gobbler's up in the tree. He's made a noise. It's breaking light. You're sat in a position, and you've made this noise of like a hen bird coming down from the roost. Take me from there.
Well, from that point, you start making subtle calls. You judge the turkey's excitement level. If he gobbles at you immediately after you call, he's coming towards you. He's working his way to you. Every time he gobbles, most of the times he stops and he struts. Yep. So you really don't want to sit there and overcall too much.
Yep.
Because he'll think you're not normal. That's not a normal situation. So you call, if he gobbles, you might call one more quick time to make him know you're excited.
Yep.
And then he'll close the distance.
Yep.
Sometimes you can see him, sometimes you can't. Most of the times you can't see him, you just hear him.
Because he's in thick cover, yeah?
Right. And he's coming towards you. So what you're looking for is that fan, the color of his head.
Yeah.
And once he gets within range, which is you want to shoot him in the head, because there's a lot of feathers and a lot of fat on the front of a turkey. So that's a lethal shot.
So you're using the shotgun, obviously 12 gauge. I can remember when I was at the SHOT Show many, many years ago looking, oh yeah. So Richard's holding up an auto shotgun.
This is a pump.
I can remember being on the Winchester stand and got a whole section specifically on turkey loads. And we went out on an media event into the desert. It's what a lot of people get to do. And you get to test them. And the thing that they got for the turkey loads, it was brilliant. They got like at about 30 meters, 30 yards, 35 yards, they got a stainless steel bowling pin hanging up. And you had to shoot at the bowling pin with this Winchester Triple X or whatever it was. And you could just see how it threw the pin in the air, the power of it. So, that was one of the things I thought, God, I'd just love to be sat there in the morning, back against a tree, somebody else calling them because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. And out comes one of these huge gobbling turkeys that's been called to me and take it, you know what I mean? I've watched it prior to our conversation. I've watched a bit on YouTube, and it looks exciting, and it does evoke that thing of calling like muntjac and roe. What we do, it's unpredictable, doesn't always work. It can be frustrating, but when it does work, it's awesome, isn't it?
It's there's a lot of people that get divorced because of
But so to give me an idea, because we haven't got the. It's crazy because we've got lots of restraints on weapons and owning them and ammunition quality, and then we've got a lot of freedom of how we hunt, what we decide to hunt. And you've got the complete opposite, where you've got a lot of freedom with lots of weapons and as much ammo as you want, and then you're really defined on your hunting seasons, the periods of them, what you can shoot at certain times of the year. I mean, must be confusing because it goes from state to state, from weapon to weapon. How does it work with the turkeys? When can you first start shooting them? Or is there a state where you get an extra few weeks and you can work your way around America shooting turkeys all year?
Well, that's a good question. And I've got friends that they call it a slam. They try to kill one of each species, subspecies, on a year. So let's just say Florida, you have a turkey down there called the Osceola turkey.
Osceola? Yeah,
I don't have one, but it has a different color on the fan. So that season will start sometimes like in early March.
Yeah.
Because it's warmer and spring started in there. So you can hunt there. Our seasons for Eastern turkeys here in Tennessee actually started this weekend for youth hunts. So only children under 16 can go and hunt turkeys with an adult.
Well, do they get the first week of the season then?
They get the first 2 days, the first weekend.
Yeah.
The season closes, and then the next weekend it opens for regular season. It'll run for. Our season starts here the first weekend in April and goes to like the 15th of May. So Mississippi, which is just below us, their season started the first of this week. So because things are just, warmer.
A bit further south, bit warmer. Yeah, it's testing a bit earlier, yeah.
Then you've got Texas, which starts about the same time. California, and that part of the country started last week. So seasons like up in New York State and Pennsylvania, they won't start for another probably 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, you could technically turkey hunt from state to state, and like I can kill 4 turkeys in the state of Tennessee by my license.
You have a license for that, yeah?
Right. So if I wanted to go hunt Florida, I have to buy a license to hunt in that state.
Yeah.
I don't know what the limit is, but I could technically kill 1 or 2 turkeys there. I could come back to my home state, kill 4 turkeys. I could travel out. Yeah, you could go kill 20 or 30 turkeys if you.
What does the license cost, Rich?
Our license, I don't think they make a specific turkey license. It just comes with your big game hunting license. So,
got you. Yeah.
So you get your deer, your duck, all your species with one license.
Can you get tags off other guys or get their birds if they're not going to shoot them? Does it work like that? Is that not legal?
Yeah.
Can't cash your chips in then. No. That's really interesting, and it's difficult for us Brits to understand that you have to kind of have a tag system. But I suppose it's a wild bird, and if everybody went out and shot 20, 25, 20, 30, it'd be in decline, wouldn't it? How do you, prior to that hunt, do you manage them throughout the winter? Do you feed them? Or is it just a wild bird that gets on with its life and then you show an interest in it after Christmas kind of thing?
No, we feed them. When we're feeding our deer, they're eating the same corn.
Oh, right, yeah, it's just part of the.
But as the food plots, when we plan our food plots for the deer, turkeys will eat clover. They'll eat a lot of the same greens that a deer does. So we're feeding them kind of year round. After deer season, people will feed corn to the turkeys, but legally you cannot hunt over feed. You have to stop any type of baiting is what we call it, 2 weeks prior to the hunting season. We do feed them, but they are a bird. They can fly and run away anytime they want.
And once you've shot one, you've got one. Yeah, it's what would it weigh? What would it weigh in pounds?
An eastern turkey,
20 pounds.
A 2-year-old to anywhere from 15 to 22, 23 pounds.
So 7 or 8 kilos. Well, that's like a female muntjac, that is, isn't it?
I've heard places like in Missouri are known for really big turkeys, 25 pounds.
Wow.
Do
they taste good? You obviously eat them, you know what I mean? But are they tasty or?
I think they're, 10 times have 10 times more flavor than a store-bought turkey. We fry the turkey, we bake the turkey, we make stews, jerky. Yeah, it's a very good meat.
And is it So for your Thanksgiving you'll have a turkey, but that's obviously a farm one. That meat will be whitish in colour, I suppose, the same as what we have over here. Is there a different colour in the meat?
I'd say probably just a little bit darker, but not. Yeah. It's still the same coloration, and and
the taste the same.
No, the taste to me is much better.
Wild one.
Yes.
Oh wow, that's good to hear. It's one of my long-term hunting sort of like bucket list is to go and shoot a capercaillie. You must have seen those big game lives that get out of Scandinavia.
That's on my list too.
Yeah, it's I actually had a trip. I had some Finnish guys come hunting with me probably 4 or 5 years ago, and they came for 2 or 3 years. Really nice group of guys, and I got invited over to Finland on the border of Sweden to hunt them there, and it was all organised. But again, like the wild grouse in our country, they do a count and decide how many they're going to shoot. And this one area was like like the National Trust. So they decided on what they were going to shoot. And again, they buy a tag to shoot them, and they only shoot a handful. And we didn't get tags for 2 years. So I never completed that. And then of course we got blooming COVID last year that knocked the head on everything. But it's not like turkey shooting, what you do with that is they stalk them out in the middle
of a tree, don't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and they wait for them to go up in a tree. Apparently, they've got this incredible eyesight, and once they've seen you, they go up in a tree to sort of like to get a better look, and that's when you take a long distance shot with a very small caliber rifle, like a 222 or 22 250 or something like that.
We do that with blue grouse out in Oregon and places like that. Same type of hunting. You shoot them out of a tree.
Yeah, tree them. I think they also use a dog as well to kind of tree them and stuff like that. But so that's definitely on my to-do list. And what was really interesting about that one, you went away for like, it was like, you know, a long weekend trip, and they got like a camp with some like teepees they set up, and you had all that campfire experience as well, which would have been awesome. And they ate them as well. But I said, if I shot one, I wanted to have it stuffed. I didn't want I wanted to bring it home and have it on my wall, you know. So, but no, it's really interesting. Again, it's one of those things. I've always kind of, again, do lots of, you know, big game shooting with my deer and all that, but this way you have to outwit a wily game bird. That must be really exciting. Going back on
this is in the last 5 to 10 years, people have really started doing this. I don't do it because to me it's a safety risk. But so they'll take a fan, okay?
Yeah.
Get behind the fan and crawl.
Richard's holding up like a plastic version of a turkey fan now, and he's hiding behind it.
People will actually get it when the turkeys are out in the field strutting. They'll get out there and they'll imitate a strutting turkey and crawl up, and they'll let the turkey will get mad and aggressive and charge, and then they'll shoot it at point blank range
with a pistol,
with a shotgun 410 pistol or a whatever. Now I don't do that, but this is a fun way to hunt turkeys. We put this together, but this is what you call a jake. Which a jake is a juvenile male turkey. You can tell that
a juvenile male turkey. Yep.
Right. So a mature tom gobbler has a long beard, 6 to 8 inches to 10 inches. Yep. You can see this is a decoy. Yep. You see the length of that.
Yeah.
So you put this turkey out in the field with your hen, and when you're calling most of the time you hunt these in this manner, middle of the day, afternoons, when the turkeys are out strutting in the field. So when a male turkey sees this juvenile turkey out there with hens, he comes in aggressive and will come and attack.
How can he tell from that decoy that you're holding up, which to me just looks like a turkey? How can he tell that's a juvenile? Is there a different color? Has he got a lighter feathering, or what is his tail? What is it?
This is a mature turkey fan, but a juvenile turkey fan will be, I'm going to show you the shape, will be like this and then longer. So his fan won't be complete and rounded.
Right, got you.
A male turkey can see it from that, but he can also judge it by the length of the beard.
So and the beards on the turkeys, again, I know nothing. Is that I'm presuming that's with age, just like the spurs they get. Do they get bigger beards for the different types they are, or you said you got 4 or 5 different species, or just age?
I wish I had my turkey beards, but I've got probably 75 to 100 of them. Some turkeys will have 3 beards.
Wow.
And there's like a CIC or SCI scoring on turkeys. So you can score your turkey by the length of the beard and by the spurs on his legs. Yep. So a 2-year-old turkey will have about a quarter of an inch spur. A 5 to 6-year-old, which is really an old turkey, could have up to an inch spur.
Wow. Yes.
I mean, I've got wounds in my legs from where I've been spurred after a shot turkey trying to get to the turkey to kill it. I've been spurred by them.
Wow.
So So anyway, with this type of decoy, you're out there, you're calling a mature bird will come in and kick and hit it and spur it. So this is a way to distract it so you can call the turkey and get a better ethical, clean shot.
That's great. And there's people shooting them with bows as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing this year. If you've got 1 second, let me run get something and we'll show you.
Yeah, no bother at all. How interesting is this, listeners? I mean, I've just got this real passion to go and hunt in different countries. And I've been invited to the States a handful of times by friends I've known for years, and I've never done it. I've been over to the SHOT Show, but that's the only real trip I did. And it's definitely on my to-do list. And I can't wait. And it's a shame for the guys that are listening on the podcast that this doesn't transfer really, because Richard's actually shown us different bits of kit, but it's really interesting. And I, for one, would really like to get out there and do it. Whoa.
Right, so this is...
Richard's got a compound bow out now. I don't think...
Yeah, and this is for turkey hunting. I use it with this stabilizer so you can walk in the woods with it, and then you can also put it in your blind and it'll hold your bow up so you can call. But this is a new turkey broadhead, just for turkeys. And you can see the cut diameter on it is real lethal. So it'll make a large cut through so your turkey won't escape, run away.
Yeah, got you. So in other words, if you take a shot from quite a close distance, so you're saying that your arrow goes straight through it normally. So they've developed this new head, have they? That kind of expands inside it. I can see it's like goes in small, and then as it goes in, it expands out. Does it? Yeah, and it stops it.
Yeah, it's called an expandable, but
what's it called? A dead ringer.
Yeah, dead ringer.
Yeah.
Turkey hunting with a bow, you just got to be very, very precise. You got to know the anatomy of the bird, just like any animal hunting. So you can't just take a 40, 50 yard shot with a bow. Most of your shots, 20, 15, 30 yards.
I'm presuming you're just shooting into the biggest part of his chest, are you? That's where you would aim, yeah?
No, you want to shoot just from where the feathers on the turkey are close to his body. So midway back, or the best place if you can get the shot is
you're turning your shoulder like you're shooting into it sideways on. You wouldn't shoot it front ways on then, no?
If this was a turkey, you would want to shoot it right here.
Got you. So Richard's holding his turkey decoy up and he's pointing to it to like middle of the body, just under the wing, really, wouldn't you? Yeah.
And then another good place, if you can get a shot, is right up the old caboose. Right up.
Whoa! Easy, Tiger. Just as he's feeding, bless him. Yeah. Oh, brilliant! So you say you've got a trip planned, and you're out next week, are you?
I'm taking old high school buddy and his son hunting this weekend for youth season. That's something I do every year, and then. Next week, I'm taking one of the VPs from Mammoth Coolers on a turkey hunt and fishing trip.
Yeah.
With their company. And then week after that, I've got two special ops military guys coming in. Hunt, taking them on a hunt. So.
Well, they won't need a gun, they won't, mate. They'll just sneak up on it, won't they?
Whatever they want to do, they can do. We don't care.
No, brilliant. Really nice that you're doing that with the ex-military guys, and I know you're really keen on that. And so, will you apply for the tags for them, or how does that work? Do they apply for the tags, or on the license? Or
in Tennessee, anybody that's active military, and it could just be general military, but they don't have to pay for a license. The state of Tennessee allows them no hunting license, but they still have to maintain game laws if they can't shoot over.
Now, you mentioned, moving on from turkeys now, you got me interested because earlier on you mentioned food plots, and that isn't something we do for our deer in our country. And I'm really keen to kind of get that going. And I'm in talks at the moment with a game feed manufacturer, as in the people that sell the seed. Again, we put out game crops mainly to flush pheasants out of, and draw songbirds, keep birds, create an environment that nature will really love and hold our game bird stocks in. But they obviously also attract deer, but they're not specifically for deer. Years ago, I was working with a company. We never really got off the ground. The only thing we did was we were given loads of seed and we planted it. And in the area we put it in, it was mainly grasses and clover. And the deer population was that high. It was eaten in the first year. It was meant to last 2 or 3 seasons. But you kind of create plots within woodland, don't you? I've been researching it a little bit. But that's very popular, and you can kind of buy it by the bag in like Walmart, can't you?
You can buy it any of your hunting stores, but more of your like what we call co-ops, where you go in and buy your grains for planting. But you can buy it online. Yeah, there's several companies here in the States that make products that you can plant all year long for your spring, your summer. When your deer and your does are about to drop a fawn, or the deer are growing their antlers at the first point where they're still in velvet, and you're trying to get protein into them so you can grow the horns.
Yeah. So what kind of I'm not. This is just. We haven't discussed it in the past, but what kind of products go into? What kind of plants are in that? I know you have alfalfa, don't you, and clovers and stuff like that. Is that an all year round one that you use?
We'll be doing a spring summer plant here pretty soon with a product called Biologic, which is owned by the company Mossy Oak Camouflage. We'll do a summer pea, like a pea, or soybeans. Sunflowers for the turkeys, quail, clover is always a really good one, an annual clover, a perennial that you only have to clip. But we'll plant some food plots specifically for the summer months with high protein, rakes, kales, anything that you would eat in a salad.
Brassicas,
is good.
I know,
Brassicas is really good. So we'll plant, starting in like September, before we get a frost, we'll plant our winter food plots, which are more going to be of a turnip, brassicas, rakes, kales.
I've been looking on the old internet and how you do it. Do you plant that within the woodland, or do you plant that along the edge of the woodland, or do you plant it so they come out of the woodland and walk across to it so you can? How do you generally do it, or do you use all methods?
We use all methods. We hunt, agricultural crops like corn, soybeans that are harvested. There are good places to hunt, but we'll do our own food plots, which are sometimes in woodlands. An acre to 5 acres is not uncommon.
Wow.
And
that's what I had the idea of doing, but of course a lot of my woodlands triple SI, and you can't. Triple SI is a site of scientific interest, and they've got, they won't just let you plant anything in any of the woodlands. So we're going to try, and we've got some different mixes that we're going to plant, and we're going to monitor and record, and then. Like this time next year, we'll be going to be able to show it to our audience, to our social media, of what's worked and what hasn't worked. And
when you do that, sometimes you'll have to have a learning curve, an educational curve with the animals. So sometimes it takes a season, but a good way to manage the growth of how much the deer are eating is we put baskets in the food plot, like a wire basket, so you can see the actual growth of the whatever you put in versus what the deer.
We call that an exclosure, Rich, and we do that within our woodland to monitor the impact of the deer on the natural growth. So you might do it in an area of bramble, and certainly in ground I've got in the Chilterns, where they're fenced off, and it's like 6 foot, 8 foot square, and you'll end up with like bramble same height, 6 or 8 foot away, and then there's nothing next to it at all, and then you really do see the impact. This is fallow deer, of course, but the impact. Yeah, but that's actually not a bad shout. When we're doing ours, is actually do some plots so that we can actually, have a like a benchmark of how it should have been and how it's getting eaten. But I've got an idea to put like fava beans in and different kales, and like you said, some sunflowers and stuff like that. But
when you do that, it's important. I mean, we've got some products that are we call it a no-till, no disc. Something that you can just throw on top of the soil that's got a fertilizer.
You haven't got 40,000 pheasants there, have you? That's the problem with feeding anything. It's if you're on a pheasant shoot, we've got a high population of those looking for food as well, and we don't want to discourage them, but we want to really try and target the deer with the food that we're doing. But it's it's a concept that I saw in the States, and like you said, I've seen on Mossy Oak they bag it and got all these different mixes, and you can do this where you just literally clear a little piece of the woodland, and it doesn't have to be acres, it can be sort of like 20 yards. 20 yards, right. 20 yards, and that's the kind of thing I thought I'd try and
if you do that,
develop and get this. Everybody wants to know how to encourage the deer into areas, especially this year's been a nightmare for public in our open woodlands, and to try and find an area where you can do some discreet deer management without Joe Public wandering in lycra 10 minutes after its first light. If we can do that, and not necessarily have a high seat looking over the plot, but certainly have a tree stand high seat going towards it, you know what I mean? And that might improve our deer cull numbers.
You can take it, an easy trick that I like to do is I like to bow hunt, which you can't do there, but you could still, the practice would work, is I take a backpack leaf blower, a gas operated leaf blower, and I'll go into the woods and I'll clear out small little plots, maybe 100 feet by 100 feet. And I'll take a rake and just scrape the top of the soil, and then I'll do a seed bed. You can do that. Pheasants would be a problem. But
what kind of plants are you putting in that? Is that kind of like a clover that you put in there? Then is it?
You just want something that's easy to grow, green, a ryegrass, a wheat, a clover, just something that will just germinate without a problem. But if you're going to plant a proper food plot, we'll get soil samples. We'll go get a soil
I know. I say I've actually got a meeting with the company that I'm hoping to work with next week. They already provide the game crops onto the estate because they put pheasants down. But it's we've got one specific area that we're going to put this new variety out and this new mix on, and then we can monitor it for 12 months. And see what gets eaten too much, what doesn't survive after 12 months. And I'm really, really looking forward to doing it. And again, we're going to probably put some time-lapse cameras out and see how it grows. But I'll post on that. And I might actually, what's that say? Is that it there?
This is a new product that a company is wanting me to help market and take to the market.
So Rich is holding up I would say a half-litre bottle of Bio Pro Green. Yeah, what's that, Rich?
It's I'm just learning about it myself. I'm gonna test it this year, but we've got Mossy Oak Biologic testing it right now to possibly put it in the line. But what it is, it's a root stimulant. It's basically like it's all organic, natural elements, but it's any type of product. I mean, anything that's growing, a tree to your plants in your garden to a food plot.
Yeah,
you apply it after. You can apply it before you plant to prep the soil, but after you've gotten a root system going, you spray this onto it, and it increases the yield.
It's like growth. Like a feed.
It's like a steroid for the plant.
Brilliant. Well, let me know how you get on with that.
If I could send liquid through the mail, I'd send you some.
Oh, we're having a nightmare with since we've Brexited. Our postage system seems to have gone absolutely mental, and anything I'm having delivered at the moment, it just takes weeks, or we don't get it, or it gets sent back to wherever it's coming from. I mean, I know it's mainly Europe I'm talking about now, but it's just ridiculous since January how bad it's been. But yeah, well, Rich, you've mentioned Mossy Oak a couple of times, and I know you worked for them for how many years was it? 8, 9, 10 years or something like that?
Like 10 or 11.
10 or 11. For the people who are listening, Richard's kind of grown up to the camo industry. He's worked for quite a few camo companies, haven't you? And you're working for Prime One, that Service UK are working with at the moment, and some exciting patterns coming out, Rich, hey? For Woodland.
Yeah, Woodland's the one we developed with Dan and the individuals from Sealand is really probably one of our fastest growing one throughout most of Europe, and also in Australia and New Zealand. So a lot of good things happening.
I think it's a great pattern, and certainly for doing the things like you said, those mid-season hunts, when you're actually got to get up close and personal with it. I love that green, the way the greens blend you in. I mean, I've been using brand camo for years, and well, I think that's how we met originally. At Ewa in the SHOT Show and places like that, where I was involved with Realtree, you were involved with Mossy Oak, and I'm a big believer in camouflage in the woodland when it's up close and personal. And that's a nice.
To be my redneck.
Richard just put a baseball cap on there. Anyway, a bit of promotion of his brand. But
just back to what you were saying, I won't elaborate too long, but growing up in the industry with Mossy Oak, the first patterns that they developed, what we developed back then, were darker patterns with just photorealistic images of sticks and leaves and shadows. Great patterns, basically set the precedent for the industry in camouflage, but those patterns are more designed for specific environments, being in a fixed position, not movement. True camouflage should be developed to break up your outline at a close distance to a long distance. Prime One camo, the whole science behind that, Lady Stacy Walker, the owner, developed it. She's a wildlife artist, but also a hunter. She looked at elements of nature and animals in nature. An example like the spots on a leopard or the stripes on a zebra, that confusion, and also add concealment and allow the animal to get closer to his prey with movement. So Prime One camo's got all those that science behind it, which we've found that it allows the individual that's out stalking for a roe deer to get closer, get away with a little bit more movement because of the pattern. Prime One, we've got a complete family of patterns that work all different types of the year and times of the seasons. So
the one that we're specifically seeing over here is the Woodlands one, isn't it? And I think that you can get that here through Shooter King have got a new range out, and Sealand have got a range out, haven't they? And I think there's things like wellies and boots and stuff like that all coming, so you can get the whole portfolio in the end, can't you? So, brilliant. Well, Richard, it's been absolutely awesome. I can never believe when I do these podcasts how quickly time goes. It's I think we've had a quick 45 minutes. It's been great to catch.
We covered a lot of topics.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do this more regularly because I enjoy that. It's we often talk business and stuff like that, but I've actually come away with a lot more knowledge about spring turkey hunting and all the elements of that. And
when you
types of weapons.
Take you.
And I wish you all the best with the next few weeks and what's coming. And please touch and send us some what you're doing out there. And I'd like to share it over my social media so my friends can see what you've been doing. And Good luck for the rest of the season. I hope you remain healthy. Stay away from any crowds. Wear your mask if you're near any.
We got a good face mask.
You've probably got a camo one anyway.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for your time. And I'll speak to you soon. And again, look after yourself, mate. And thank you.
Oh, yeah. Good talking to you.
All the best, Rich.
Bye-bye.